Hello, everybody, and welcome to Graded Point Live. And ladies and gentlemen, we have with us tonight Mr. Rob. Was it Cacy? How we pronounce
Yep.
it last?
Yeah,
Okay.
Casey, that's right.
Okay, I want to make sure I pronounce people's names right. I want to it isn't Kaka, is it? Because that would be wrong.
No, that's not.
Well, wow.
Raftro, you got fooled. he must have been in the midst of typing that when he typed that. But yeah. So yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. You have
Yeah.
looks like you have a project. I got it on the screen here. Cyborg USA, the comic book, and so yeah, tell us about it. Tell us what was what's it about, and what's the inspiration for it, and all that good stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So Cyborg USA is it's a comic book about America's elite athletes.
Mm-hmm.
They're maimed by this terrorist harem called the Red Skirts, and then reanimated into super killer cyborgs that work for the Attorney General. This is an idea that I had maybe 20 years ago, and then I've been working with my writing partner for about 15 years, and recently, within the past few years, watching comic book videos on YouTube, I was like, you know what, it's time. Let's put this project together and get an artist. So we hired Pablo Romero, and now here we are. This is our crowdfunding for basically the first two issues of what we hope to be an ongoing series.
Okay, nice. I'm liking the art. I'm digging the art. Very throwback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I found Pablo, he did some Jawbreakers fan art for Richard Meyer. He did the one that's in the book where they look like an animated group from the 80s, and Splato Delgado has a shotgun. And I remember he posted it on Twitter about the time that I was looking for an artist, and I was looking for that kind of 70s and 80s kind of simple animation, superhero style.
Mm-hmm. I would say
which not really a lot of people do. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say it's very reminiscent of what you would tune in on something Saturday morning or a syndicated show after school kind of vibe.
Exactly. That's the look I wanted for these characters. I felt like that would give it kind of this warm, kind of wholesome nostalgia look, and then we could, what we end up doing with the story is fairly subversive and graphic and kind of like weird and surreal. So that's it's got a fun veneer for the story that we're trying to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Pablo. He I asked him, I said, "Hey, would you be interested in drawing my comic?" No. Like, oh, all right, well, okay.
Can't be helped.
Oh, he passed on working with you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Got a bone to pick me up. No, I'm kidding. He was probably busy, And honestly, I didn't give a real pitch. It was just a kind of a, shit posty kind of, you know what I mean? So.
Well, let me tell you, he
can you
didn't
draw a submarine?
Yeah.
Lamau.
Pretty much, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. He didn't agree to draw my book right away either. When I brought it to him, I was like, "Hey, I really like your style. I have this idea. You're interested in doing the comic?" And he was like, "No, not really. But I'll do the character design." So you've got Rufus right there.
Yeah.
Those are those are basically the original character design, a little modified from what he originally sent. But after he did the character design, he was game for it. He was like, "Oh, I had a lot of fun drawing these guys, and if you guys want to give me a script, I'll think about it." And then he kind of got more into it. He sent us some samples, and the first script that we did was kind of like Marvel stuff. It was very very loose. Every page was just a couple of paragraphs about what all the action on the page was.
Yeah.
And it took him a long time to draw it. So then the second one that we did, we were much more it was a much more panel by panel breakdown script. But both of them he did a fantastic job with. He's really great to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think I should have. We were probably going to approach him. We've thought about approaching him again, but just kind of like you did. It's like, hey, let's. Can we talk about doing some concept stuff first? And if he digs it after that, it's fine. If not, at least we have the concept. But
Yeah, he did. He ended up doing the first one like over a long period of time last year, and then the second one we talked about it for a while leading up to it. And I told him that I was going to crowdfund, and then I got him working on it like a couple of months before we start. I was going to launch the campaign sooner, but I ended up doing it later for a few reasons. But like he's done with all the line art now. So once we like got into it, he just kind of blistered through it and has been working on it consistently throughout the campaign. But now. Now all we need is the coloring. So Michael Beacon's doing the coloring,
okay.
and then lettering, and we expect that we'll be like shipping it first thing next year, as soon as possible, basically.
Very nice. Yeah, so estimated shipping is January, but don't get married to it, from what I've heard.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be a push. I mean, we're gonna the campaign goes through November. And then we're going to keep it open probably through December as we put in the orders for the books.
Right.
And then depending on on where we are with the progress, we'll see. But hopefully it'll be printed to me in January.
Yeah, I see a lot of because I've been trying to keep up with that end of it, and I know I won't know too much until kind of do our own thing. But I've seen people, some people say like. Yeah, it's like you go to order the books, and it's like, yeah, I need 1,000 books. Like, oh, that's great, you need 1,000 books, but if you get 1,500, you get a discount. I was like,
Sure.
Which I think is fine. I think it's fine to have some extras, but maybe not too many extras. You know what I mean? Like,
what we say in the campaign is these are we're actually doing something a little bit different than some of the other campaigns. We're limiting it to 500. So a discount is not going to entice us. That's like a promise we're making to the backers to keep this like first printing of this
keep it rare,
launch of this series like limited. Yeah, exactly. So, and one of the tiers is a hand numbered version of issue number 1. That's meant to be like the ultra rare version. We're gonna print that up a little bit differently, have it be a little bit a little fancier, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's that tier there.
The numbered variant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then a very cool tier, we only have 3 left, is the Cyborgize Yourself.
Yeah.
And that's that one, Pablo Romero will draw you as a cyborg, like from our universe, and you also get exclusives in the other tiers.
Yeah, that's neat. Hear that, Piper? You can get drawn as a 80s cyborg.
I like the 80s idea. I don't like robot stuff.
What if it was an 80s cyborg werewolf?
Okay, I'm down.
You just got to throw a werewolf with Piper. Anything, you just put werewolf at the end of it, she's good. It doesn't matter what it is. That's her thing. So yeah.
We could probably do that. Yeah. If you wanted to for that tier, I'm sure we can make you a cyborg werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like the idea of like them working for the Attorney General. That's you can't get more efficient. No, you can't get more like government sponsored than that, right? Like.
Yeah, well, that's like one of the fun things. Like, I guess I said I kind of came up with this idea when about 20 years ago when I first came to New York, and I started writing stories with these characters, and that was just like one of the details that I always like is that they become cyborgs like after a train collision. It was like, I don't know, like a train collision is like kind of inherently funny to me.
Yeah.
And the same thing with like them working for the Attorney General. That's just like it's just like a funny government like position to be assigned to.
It's like of all the things, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, like there's like an Attorney General right now that's going through some stuff, and it's like it's just like one of those like it's like one of those cabinet positions where it's like they could really be up to something goofy like this.
It's funny. Years ago, I was writing a story. And long story short, it got lost in a hard drive wife. But
bummer.
Yeah, fun times. Still up here, in the headpiece, but it's finding the motivation to put it back on paper, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, one of my it was kind of like it had a government connection, but it was under the auspices of the Secretary of Education. And the reason why I did that was because nobody would suspect the Secretary of Education is running a off the books superhero group.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's the same kind of thing.
yeah.
My thing is as it's not as like you know, we don't go for it quite that hard.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's like
But it's the same
but
kind of idea.
the idea I had was like the thing is so super secret that even the people who work there don't know they're working for the government. They think it's
that's
like
cool.
a private organization. You know, they don't realize it's. You know, it's like, when one of the ideas is like when it's found out that they do work for the government, it's like, you really think you could do all this stuff all these years without anybody noticing? It's like, come on. Like the government's the government's dumb, but they're not that dumb. Go ahead.
Yeah, my guys so they work for the Attorney General, but they also they're reanimated by this mysterious scientist Hans Ulrich, who has this mansion in Virginia, and that's where the Cyborg USA headquarters. So there's like a fundamental tension in who he's obviously like the scientist that's reanimated them, so he has all the control of them, but the Attorney General has this like authority position, and then they have like this friction between them in terms of like their vision for the program.
Right. Because I'm looking at this Kane and White cover for issue 2. That looks awesome.
Yeah, so we got really lucky with that. We, it's not something that we had going when we started the campaign, but we hadn't assigned the second cover yet. We ended up reaching out to him, and he was able to do it, and he did it really quick, and it looks amazing.
It does.
And that's going to be, that's going to be issue 2 every their issue 2 cover. So it's a cool perk to be able to offer everybody that backs the book.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm digging it. Because for one thing, it's got cyborgs, which are awesome, and it's USA. And I mean, come on.
Exactly. Thank you.
I mean, So this is this will be the part of the store. The part of the this will be the part of the stream where I'm going to ask you some questions. And the first question is, this is a question that's going to see how American you are. Okay.
All right.
Are you ready for this? You ready for this quiz? You think you can handle it?
I hope so.
Okay. All right.
We'll see how I can do.
Okay. First question: what is the national anthem, and why is it Hulk Hogan's "Real American"?
You kind of cut out. I heard. What is the national anthem, and why is it Hulk Hogan's what?
"Real American." Why is it Hulk Hogan's theme song? You say yes, and then we're good.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm not sure I have the right answer. It's not the Star Spangled Banner, is it?
No, it's Hulk Hogan's
real. It's
Hulk Hogan. It's "Real American" by Hulk Hogan. I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. Come on.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember that from my childhood.
It's kind of a joke. We always said like, okay, I like the national anthem. It's nice. It gives you pride, but "Real American" makes you want to go fight somebody, right? let's go end some wars.
I gotta listen to that song again. I'm not sure I remember how it goes.
I am a real American, fighting for the rights of every man. I am a real American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Canadian got it.
Why would? Yeah, the Canadian knows. Yeah. Excuse me. The national anthem is Kung Fu Fighting. Why would a Chinese Japanese inspired song be the national anthem? Come on, let's be honest.
It's the national anthem of Taiwan.
There you go. Yeah, I think the Taiwanese can handle that. They were like, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go look at the chat. Does Methan Van Scrabbles have a similar comic coming out? Yeah, he's got a comic coming out called let's see, Robots USSR. It's in
So that's part of the idea of Cyborg USA. If we're able to extend the series, the idea is that like when Cyborg USA, when they're unveiled to the world, it kicks off this arms race where all the countries like need to have their own cyborgs, and people who are like body modification fetishists like try to like storm Hans Ulrich's mansion to get their own cybernetic upgrades.
Yeah. You see, I like that because that's always, I always said that's, especially in the 80s and stuff, that's always the case. If we did something, then the Russians had to do it. If the Russians did something, we had to do it. That was.
Yeah, exactly.
So doing that is like, a good idea. It would be a good idea storytelling wise.
Well, that's the idea. So, like, what I hope, we've done on the crowdfunding, but the more people that back it, if we can sell out this like first run, that'll ensure that we're able to launch another campaign with, we've already got, like I said, we'd like to do 12 issues. I've already got the next couple issues like pretty clearly laid out. So we'd like to, the story for issues 1 and 2, I think are satisfying resolution, but they also like open the door to like new adventures.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I was clicking on it to look at it, not to do that yet. So I'm seeing that the other ones, like up here, so you got these limited to 350 just for the $25.
Yeah. So, well, it's 500 total. So because all the tiers have issues 1 and 2 included.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we want to leave like some. We're only going to print 500, so we want to leave some to make sure that that everybody gets like a good quality book. So
yeah. So the numbered variant I'm showing doesn't have that. Is that a?
So we're gonna print that. We'll close that like if it reaches a certain threshold. But
okay. All right.
right now we're at like 9. So
yeah.
However many are printed of that. Say we sell 20 or 25, it's going to be. Print to order 25 of them, and they're all going to be hand numbered.
Gotcha. Okay. I gotcha.
Like and then the black and white is like no text, just like the line art, Pablo's original line art.
Right. Mm-hmm.
One.
Yeah, let's look at this deluxe package. So you get issue 1, issue 2, a wall poster, T-shirt, and a decal sticker. Yep. See, Piper, you can stick it on the Jeep you can't drive.
All right.
Yeah.
I think you're still statistically more likely to engage in road rage. That's the weirdest thing. Like the more you that was something.
Oh yeah, that's true. The more you decorate and personalize your car, the more aggressive you drive. And it says it's because the car extension of you.
Oh, because you've personalized it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Makes sense.
So people get in your personal space if they are too close to your car and shit like that.
Right. Gotcha.
It's kind of neat.
Even those like coexist stickers.
especially
the coexist. Yeah, honestly, anytime I've had problems like in not on the road but in parking lots. If I've had a problem with anybody in a parking lot, the idiot always has one of those coexist stickers. Every time, and has not failed yet. Every time. I said, I thought we were supposed to coexist. Fuck you. I'm like, oh, well. Hey, all right, fuck.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah. It's like, you almost run me down, but all right. I mean,
yeah, so the sticker and the T-shirt, both the Cyborg USA logo. The guy that did that is also did the Jawbreakers logo as well. So,
oh, okay, yeah.
That's me kind of. Yeah, I started this project last year, so that was something I was able to catch those guys, kind of before they were overwhelmed with stuff. I guess.
Well, at least you just don't put the you haven't, but yeah, don't put the logo on the side like Zach did with Jawbreakers. That was weird. What?
Well, we've got the back. Well, let me say this: on our website, cyborgusaccomic.com, you can enter your email and we'll send you a PDF of issue number 1.
Okay.
That's complimentary, so you can check out the story and see if it's something you're interested in. We hope that that's going to inspire you to come back and back the project. But on the back cover, the logo is on the side, like you said. So.
Oh, okay, all right. But yeah, so when I remember when I first saw the finished Jawbreakers and I saw that, I'm like, why did he do that? And then it was so funny because when Ethan reviewed it, he said, why did he do this? I was like, thank you.
That's like Zach's like OCD kicking in. I think he was like, "Oh, it's going to cover everything up, and I got to
Yeah.
put it like up in the corner." I was thinking about that with Kanan's coverage because we have like box art or like corner box art. So I'm not sure we're going to use that, and I kind of have to look at the placement on the first cover. It's not exactly right.
If you put it, I think you would be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at the print, of it. I think, because if you put that there, you would still, like, if you put the logo there, this, the guns, you would still be noticeable, obviously. And, I think you still got enough room over here where it's not, taking up any details, a lot of details. You'd be fine if you wanted to leave that there.
Well, we'll check it out. My partner, Zach Tobacco, is doing, like, the layout and the lettering for us, so.
Yeah. Of course, I was just eyeballing it, so, what do I know?
Yeah. Well, this is our first book. We haven't done a comic book before, so it's
right. Yeah.
We're definitely like feeling our way through and kind of taking it step by step.
That's like I know it's like that's a get in line thing. I don't a lot of people it's like it's it's the first time doing it. It's like oh well understandable. Like I remember I think it was Ethan who mentioned it. He said like before I draw it, send it off, in 30 days it's a book. Right. I didn't have to worry about it after that. So that's like, now you got to worry about, the placements, the logos, the printing, the shipping, all that stuff. So.
Yeah, it is challenging to like look at it and think about doing everything, but I think that's also like, like that's the opportunity there is that we get to make the book that we want the way we want to do it.
Right.
And we get to reach out to customers. Ideally who are like directly interested in our books.
Right. I'm sorry, I'm just going up and down because these are, keep showing art.
Thank you.
So, let me get a picture. Let me get a good picture of the team here. And, here you go from the first cover. All right. See how well you know your own characters.
Know them pretty well.
So
like I said, like I came up with these characters like 20 years ago, so they kind of like are real in my imagination.
Yeah.
Their names are Tina, Rufus, Bisbee, and Hutch, and Captain USA. So that's like from like top, I guess clockwise.
Okay.
It's Bisbee and Hutch, and they're like a couple.
Okay.
At the beginning, they're like young lovers at the beginning of the story,
mm-hmm.
and then around the horn, that's Tina, and then Captain USA and Rufus on the bottom.
All right. Captain USA isn't a self-insert, is
it? No. Well, I used to on message boards. I used to go by the handle Captain USA, and when I would play video games, I would enter Captain USA as my name.
Mm-hmm.
So I always named this guy Captain USA, and then.
Mm-hmm.
When I started promoting the book, I changed my Twitter handle to Cap. So that's the story of that.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just playing with you because
Yeah.
The with all the I'm sure I don't know if you've seen, but like all the self inserts have been going on in like media now, and
yeah, I mean I mean in truth, like I think of like all those like bottom three characters as like, so my personality, like self inserts, like they kind of represent like. Like how I see myself or my own kind of issues. The other two, like the couple, Bisbee and Hutch, I kind of see them as like junior members, like kind of like they're sort of like the kids of the group, or like the Wonder Twins, that kind of dynamic.
Well, I was going to say the Bisbee gives me that, I don't know why, but she gives me that Jubilee vibe.
Yeah.
Kind of youthful,
definitely
kind of thing, So yeah, I was kind of getting that vibe from her anyway, so it was kind of cool. I'm just trying to figure out what part of your personality is a busty blonde, brother. What's going on? That's a.
I try to. What part of it is? It's the nice part.
it's the confident part.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're not afraid to strut it, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, no, I think she's like very. The thing about her is like, so she loses like most of her brain in the accident.
Oh, okay.
So she's come back with like more. She has this like death ray that she can shoot from her eye.
Yeah.
So in some ways, she's like more powerful than anybody else in the group.
Mm-hmm.
But she is like she's become like the most insecure because she was like really confident before the accident and really capable, and now she has this like doubt, like is she even still the same person that she used to be?
Yeah, which this is a cool effect here, them disintegrating under her death
Yeah,
beam. Yeah.
so that's it. The red skirts are, basically what happens is these guys are they're like America's like top athletes at the World Team Championships, and this terrorist group, the red skirts, they plan a bomb, but they're called Super Team USA at the time. They stop it, and it enrages the red skirts. Yuri is their like terrorist leader, and he orders them to have Super Team USA killed. That's what causes a train collision, and then this is like at the end of the book, after they become cyborgs, the red skirts like again try to take them out when they find out that they've been reanimated.
Gotcha.
So the red skirts are sort of their like they're like perpetual like ongoing nemesis.
Kind of like their Cobra.
Yeah, exactly. Just like chicks in red skirt and berets.
But they will die. I mean, because I'm sorry. Look, go back and look at his art here. There ain't no getting better from that. Hey, everybody, Duke's okay. That's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's in a coma.
Yeah, Duke ain't in a coma. Duke dead.
Parachute out of the plane. Well, it's interesting you say that because I'm like, I don't know if you know this, I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan, and that's actually like that's what got me into Comicsgate was.
Well, you notice my name here, right? You see that last name on the. It's
oh yeah, Optimus, sure.
Yeah. So I might know a little bit about G.I. Joe too, just a little bit.
Well, are you on the His Tank boards, or were you part of the G.I. Joe Collectors Club and the Transformers Collectors Club and all that?
I was on TFW 2005 back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, I trolled around there a lot. As far as I think they like did back and forth with His Tank. They like cross promoted a lot back in the day.
Yes.
I think they still do. I just haven't been there in a long time. But yeah, back in the day, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean they definitely did because the Collectors Club like serviced them both. But I used to collect Transformers really hard. I mean, I went and saw Transformers the movie when it opened like twice opening day. So I was like really diehard. But as an adult, I like put my G.I. Joe collection back together. So that's what got me like. It got me like diehard into the scene, and then like when Aubrey consider some G.I. Joe fans like all right Nazis because they didn't like his book. That's how I found Diversity in Comics on YouTube.
Yeah,
I started watching his videos because he was the only one who was like, I thought, representing the fans in that situation like appropriately, because all the like, all the comic book sites were like, toxic all right fans like attack Aubrey Sitterson, and it's like, dude, that is not what's happening at all. Like Aubrey Sitterson is going into Facebook groups and trolling the fans like who don't like his book.
Exactly. I remember that incident. And what didn't he? And that was like, and was soon after that he did the whole 9/11 mockery. Right. Yeah.
Well, that ended up being like the last straw. That was the one where a bunch of G.I. Joe fans, including this guy Generals Joe's, who's like Justin Bell, who is kind of like a big figure in the community. There had been like a pattern of them kind of like getting fed up with Aubrey, and on 9/11 he posted the thing where he was like, unless you were like downtown in 9/11, like you're not allowed to like feel bad about it, basically.
Which I call bullshit on, because it's kind of like I always said, like, in my lifetime there were two events that I can remember vividly happening. One was the Challenger exploding. And the other was, 9/11.
Yeah,
sure.
So, I was 2001. I was 22 years old at the time. I'm 40 now. I mean, so I still remember where I was when it happened. I don't live in New York.
I was still in high school, but I remember.
Yeah, I didn't live in New York.
Well, I did. I was in New York City in 9/11. Yeah, and I just moved out here, and it was like. And I'm from Alaska, and it was like really scary for me to move to New York City. And it was like a year and a half I'd been here. Not even that, because I came in August of like 2000, so it was just over a year when it happened. Yeah. And it was like like all those like those movies like Independence Day, and it's just like all those fucking movies that you think are like that's never gonna happen. That's just like that's just crazy. That was like what was going on in the city.
Yeah.
And there's just like so many. I mean, the thing about it is though is like with back to Aubrey Sitterson, like even though I was in the city and I knew people who had people that were lost there, like that isn't even what bothered me the most. What bothered me the most was like all the kids, the generations of or the generation of kids that like went to war because of that, who maybe weren't even alive. Now they weren't even alive when it happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, those guys they're all directly affected by that incident, and it's just like such it's something that like for me, what was like so terrible about it was GI Joe is like a property and a brand that has always been like really respectful and honor the armed services, and I felt like with that comment, he just like it demonstrated a fundamental blind spot for like the honor of service, basically. Because that I don't know that incident reflected on so many people's lives.
Yeah, I've never been one to call for like removing somebody from a book. But that was the exception. You know what I mean? I made that exception for him because, you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. I mean, I felt the same way, and it was like, but I was just going to not support him. Basically, that's what all the G.I. Joe sites, they were like, we're not going to support this guy anymore. And Chris Ryle and those guys at IDW kind of backpedaled. They took him off, or they basically canceled his book and then gave him another one. Yeah. And that was the Scarlet Strike Force, which like didn't even make it to 4 issues. Basically, because we all were boycotting him, and it's a really complicated situation because, like you say, you don't want to boycott somebody. But it was just it just like he was just like past the point of no return in terms of fan relationships.
Yeah, it's like looking at his work, and like some of the because I wouldn't, I didn't. How's the best way to put this? There were some books that fell off the truck on the internet, and they fell off the truck and they landed in my hard drive. Right.
Okay.
And from there, I might have read them.
I think I follow you.
Yeah. And reading he just had no respect for the property at all. Like like it was either he was belittling somebody who was like a beloved character, or he was killing somebody off that was a beloved character.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
think when people talk in Comicsgate about like what they don't like about like Marvel and DC, I think that's like the core of it is just like fundamentally not respecting those characters, and it's like it's like you don't want to show up for Star Wars like 20 years later and have Luke Skywalker basically like refuse the call to like save the galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. I think
they just.
It's funny because I saw a meme the other day. It was like it's that picture from Last Jedi, or it like looks like he's looking from underneath or over something, like he's looking over like a piece of wood or a table. It's something he's looking over it, and he just looks like he just looks dead in the eye, right? He's just like, I don't want to be here, kind of thing. Yeah. And then they show a picture of like Force Ghost Anakin, and he goes like, "Look what they did to my boy."
Yeah. Yeah.
Look what they did to my boy.
I mean, it's like I think they want. I don't know, with like G.I. Joe stuff, or like it's not like every property, but they want to bring something new to it. But sometimes the new thing that they bring to it is like, well, that character that you expect to be a certain way, we're going to make him not that way to subvert expectations, like they say, and that's just not satisfying a lot of times.
Yeah. What I want to know is why they keep hiring people that hate the property to write that particular property. Like,
it's like when they hired Mags to do Transformers and Visionaries, right? Yeah. And the whole time she's complaining because she had to, quote, "I'm a socialist and having to write this, creation of capitalism." I'm like, you don't have to. You can not do it,
Yeah, they keep getting because half of the changes are I always hated this character. I'm going to turn it into something I like. And it's like, why are you writing a character that you don't like?
Yeah.
Maybe go write one you do like, because you can tell in the quality of writing when somebody's writing a character they love and when somebody's writing for a character they hate.
Yeah.
I think that does motivate people to get on those jobs, though. Is like, oh, this is they and some of the I think some of this is the way that like pop culture is taught in universities, because like for pop culture in universities to be taught, it kind of has to be connected to like certain like interdisciplinary like thing. Just for like a professor to like get credit and fill classes, like it's got to meet like qualifications. Maybe it's like women's studies or diversity studies or like fine arts or whatever. And so like that kind of influences like the way that they choose content, and I think it kind of warps like people's perception, because I think a lot of professors want to be like contrarian and like look at things that they think are destructive that are subconsciously being communicated through culture. But if you dig through that stuff too deeply, because a lot of this is prime and it's hard
He's wandering away. Rob, come back. You started breaking up really bad. I don't know if you.
Oh my god, my connection is terrible. I can't.
Oh
hear
wow, it's
nothing.
I'm sorry. It's the server. Hold on a minute. Do.
Oh.
Piper might get disconnected.
Okay.
But
oh no.
Oh wait, it's gotten better. It's gotten better. Oh, it's gotten better. Okay, sorry.
I could hear y'all now.
Discord took a massive dump. You're there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I guess I was just talking and.
Yeah, you were talking. It was going good, and it started going like But you're talking about
and then I could tell that you were responding, and it was doing the same thing. So I was like, oh.
Yeah, because I was saying Rob has left us. Where did Rob go? But no, I know what you were saying. If I get the gist of what you were saying is university professors who, gosh,
they're trying to stuff classes, and they're trying to essentially analyze everything because culture makes the art makes the culture,
or history don't real, kind of thing. I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way because a friend of mine went to East Carolina University, right? It's not very known as a it's not known for its centrism. Let's put it that way. Very left leaning, right? My friend had a history teacher, but this history teacher was like old school, right? He's like an old school kind of history professor. And so the first day of class, he comes in. Like I said, this guy's old as dirt. So he's literally one of those guys who don't give a shit no more. Like I don't care what you think. I've seen it all. I've done it all.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, your first paper is going to be about the causes of the Civil War. And if any of you put slavery on there, I'm going to fail you immediately.
Hell yeah.
He said you could say that slavery was a component, but if you say slavery was the cause, then there's no need for you to be in this class.
Exactly.
I was like, damn, dog.
I try to tell people that all the time.
Yeah. I was like, damn, this guy is hardcore. My friend said, I love this guy. I love him. But yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's like that you got that component, and like you said, then there's a lot of. I mean, look at Bendis, what he's been doing, right? When Bendis started off great with like Ultimate Spider-Man, I think he did some good stuff there. I don't know how much you kept up with Ultimate Spider-Man during that time.
Yeah, I haven't really like read much Bendis except for a little bit of Jessica Jones.
Mm-hmm. But that was a good little run too. He did pretty good with Jessica Jones. But at some point, and I'm not saying he's like SJW or anything like that, but at some point it became more about I need to put this in here to represent this, because it's looking very likely now that like Riri Williams and characters like that, and like now with Teen Lantern and stuff, those are just representative of his daughter, right? My daughter needs somebody to look up to. I was like, well, how about write an existing character like good, and they can look up to that character? Why do you got to create your daughter in comics?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when Casada, in his infinite wisdom, this is pre One More Day, had the brilliant idea. Well, I'm quitting smoking, so none of our characters are going to be allowed to smoke anymore. What? Even Wolverine, especially Wolverine. Well, okay. What?
Well, So like I was talking with like I guess Vinny Tartamella on stream about this a couple weeks ago, and I guess Casada had somebody close to him die of lung cancer, maybe like his dad or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I take exception to that. I mean, I with like Aubrey Sitterson and with G.I. Joe and IDW, they have the A Real American Hero like version that Larry Hama does, but then they also have like another version that they'll do, and a lot of times in the other version they make it so that like the G.I. Joe team like doesn't use machine guns, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, like guns are part of G.I. Joe, and there's obviously like a political calculation that like that's something that's like bad for kids, or that the culture is like moved away from glorifying like gun violence.
Yeah.
But it's still like that was like what was fun for G.I. Joe, when we were kids, is like guns and weapons and realistic military action.
Yeah. It's like I was watching a thing yesterday, which I think the guy got wrong. He got some things wrong, but he was doing like had a video about Cobra Commander, like his origins and stuff like that, taking the comic and the cartoon, kind of explaining it all, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And he put it like succinctly. He said we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the red lasers versus the blue lasers. So I was like, well, yeah, it's not wrong. I mean, but
well, yeah. So I mean, like Wolverine. When I think of Wolverine, like smoking a cigar and shooting a machine gun, that's like what that character was in the '90s. And,
yeah.
And it's not the same character if he's not doing that.
Yeah.
In some ways.
And plus, it's like hey, hi, he's got a healing factor. He's not going to get cancer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. He's like, that's the reason why, he would smoke, he would do things like that because it wouldn't affect him. He can't get drunk, right? He can't, smoke inhalation. It's not going because his lungs heal too quick. He recovers from just about anything. I mean, I saw
hook up with anybody.
Yeah. Not get a VD, I mean, I saw the Hulk, like, I think it was in World War Hulk, X-Men, where he punched Wolverine several times so hard that, like, basically Wolverine got brain damage.
Yeah.
But he got better because he's Wolverine. It's just that's the way the character's always been. Saying he can't smoke because, and I understand, things like that happen. We all have personal problems, personal tragedies, right? But I'm not gonna give Aunt May Alzheimer's because my grandmother had Alzheimer's.
But it's something more than that too, because there's also incentives that the government gives you for not including that like smoking propaganda in media. Mm-hmm. So you're eligible for certain tax breaks by doing that, and so it's like, I don't know, like I think all that stuff's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, dirty secrets. I live in a tobacco state, so I know things.
Right.
The dirty secret. You seen those truth commercials on TV and different places?
I guess so. Are those like anti-smoking videos?
Yeah, they're really annoying.
They're really stupid, like painfully cringe.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: they're paid for by the big tobacco companies.
Mm-hmm.
That was a settlement they reached with the government, so they wouldn't have to like, go out of business, essentially.
Right.
I mean, that's all it is. It's just like they're just paying their way out of not having to go out of business.
Right.
Because it's all how many pockets you can grease. It's the way it is.
Some of it is. I mean, I think that those ads are weird because, like, when you think about it, it's like, they're still spending money to advertise their product, and that's meant to, the psychology behind telling people to not use your product is strange.
Yeah.
they're trying to do the teenager rebellion thing.
Yeah. Like, don't tell me what to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Juul, the leading vaping company, is owned by Big Tobacco. There you go. You know. Man, there's so much stuff. It's like, I remember this one really got me. One of the big nicotine patches that are out there, our initial funding was funded by tobacco companies.
Interesting.
So it's essentially, it's just like any big corporation. Eventually they're going to cover their base. They're going to, you've heard like they talk about the legalization of marijuana, and I'm talking about in a recreational sense, not the, medical sense, but in a recreational sense. I can tell you.
Sorry, in Alaska, where I'm from, that's like full on going on right now. So I know like quite a bit about it, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. The funny thing, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Did you know Philip Morris, RJR Nabisco, and all these major tobacco companies already have set aside machines specifically for rolling marijuana cigarettes? They've had it in place for like 20 years. They're just waiting for the day that it happens. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they're just waiting for the day it happens. It's all been because I know a guy. I think it's in Virginia. They have like the big. I think it's like RJR factory. You get some cheap cigarettes there from what I hear. And I asked him. The guy said, "Yeah, he worked there for like." I was like, "So what do they think about the possibly of marijuana being legalized?" He said they're ready for it. I said, "What do you mean they're ready for it?" He said, "Man, they've had those machines. They already got machines lined up on the floor. They're just covered with tarps right now. As soon as the government says it's okay, they put their in business immediately."
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's like
Spark them up.
Oh man, that's why. Well, you live in New York. So you know how much. I don't know if you smoke or anything, but I don't know if you know how much like a pack of cigarettes cost there.
I used to. When I stopped, it was a long time. My wife still does, but I don't know. It's like $10 or $12 a pack, basically.
You want to know how much they cost here in North Carolina?
Probably like 3 or 4. Huh?
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah.
Big difference between a tobacco state and a and a state that's trying to they're trying to tax y'all out of bad habits or something. I don't know what's going on up there.
Well, I think so. I moved here in 2000. I think when I got here, I would smoke. I only smoked for like 2 years. I smoked like a pack a day for 2 years. And I think when I got here, they were like $6 a pack, and then they jumped up to like 10. Mayor Bloomberg did like a huge tax raise on those. That's when he was trying to do the tax raise on like the large sodas, and that kind of backfired on him.
I think I heard somebody on radio one time call him Mayor Doomberg because he's all like, we got to stop these people from being fat,
Well, talk about like weird, like his, like I thought his like, because he was like a pretty good mayor in the sense that like the city ran pretty efficiently and didn't have a lot of problems, but it's like really weird to have like the mayor of your city be like a billionaire that runs like a monopoly business, serves the financial like sector exclusively, and then he's also like trying to ban like soda and cigarettes, and it's like it's so dystopian.
Yep. And then and like channel, like a whole channel is named after him, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And then now y'all got that idiot running your. Was it De Blasio?
De Blasio, yeah, he's a world-class idiot. That's for sure.
I love the idea. Okay, now I'm just me. I've never been to New York. I like to go sometime, right? Go to New York City just to go around, chill and stuff like that. I would think one of the cool things to do, especially if you got a honey, or a dude, Piper, was to do one of those like carriage rides around Central Park, right? And the first thing De Blasio does is get rid of that. Is that, you can use this smart card to go. I was like, yes, I really want to get in a car and ride around in New York.
Defeats.
Well, what they have there in Central Park and all around, they have like pedal cars. I think that's like, that might be it. there's no comparison for those carriages. They are like very romantic and interesting. What I will say though, for me personally, like I don't like to see those horses get used like that. It's like I like I don't know. For me, like seeing an animal like put to work like that all the time is not like pleasant. And they crap all over the place. So like that sucks too. But he said he was gonna ban him, and he has not gotten any traction on that. He's really pretty ineffective.
Yeah.
When he sets his mind to something.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Nothing.
Well, the crazy thing is like he ran for president, and nobody in New York City wanted him to do it. Everybody's like pissed because there's all these problems here, and he's going to Iowa and he's talking to like a coffee shop full of like 3 people, and it's like, dude, you're the mayor of a city, like the most important city of the world with 8 million people. Like, keep your eye on the ball, you know?
Yeah. Which is, I mean, like I think somebody said like, the mayor of New York, like the only job that would be like is like more busy would probably be the president of the United States, you know, because of all the stuff that he would have to. I mean, especially with security now and all that stuff after 9/11, you know. I mean,
it's a serious job if you take it seriously. There's a lot of bureaucracy, and the whole city, like, you know, it has got problems and challenges, and nothing is. I don't think anybody's like really happy or anything like really runs well. Honestly.
Yeah.
But I've only been here for 20 years, you know.
Yeah, it's like I don't know anything. I've only been here, you know, half my life. No big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something, man. Like I said, I think De Blasio. I think the whole like him trying to, you know, becoming mayor of New York. He was trying to springboard to run for president. And I don't think he realized like how much the rest of the country doesn't care about New York City.
Sure.
Especially, and I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying, you know, like but there's a lot of people who they care about kitchen table stuff, right? They care about, you know, what are my taxes? What are, you know, this, you know, how much money am I making? You know, blah, blah, blah. That they don't give a crap about, you know, the horse crap in New York. No, you know, no offense or anything, but you know what I mean? Just like, that's not what they care about, you know?
I think it's easy to make the case that that the skills for running New York City are not necessarily transferable to being a good president of the United States. Just you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, with him he got into office kind of on a fluke. If I remember properly, like Anthony Weiner was like one of the guys running, and like his candidacy fell apart for obvious reasons.
Oh yeah, because of
yeah. And then there was like,
what was his like, made up name?
Carlos Danger.
Carlos Danger. Yes. The Carlos Danger situation happened, and
exactly.
that was it.
highly dangerous.
Yeah.
Francois disaster.
Exactly.
Well, it's like you said, you know, I mean, New York is a liberal city, and they were probably going to get Weiner. I think he probably would have gotten elected, honestly.
He would have, yeah.
And since he didn't, they don't have an appetite for a Republican. It would have to be really dire. It had to be like a Rudy situation for it to be, you know what I mean? Like, because when he won, it was a shock when Rudy won. You know, I remember when I was younger, and they said, you know, New York now has a fucking Republican, you know, mayor. I'm like, what? Even I was like, huh? And you know, so he got, and then Bloomberg, he's a sneaky man, because he started as a Republican, and then when things started shifting away from that, he said, I'm an independent.
He is. He that's not, yeah. His concern is not party loyalty.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, all he did, I mean, when you really look at what Bloomberg did, all he did was like, except, you know, besides the, you know, soft drink thing, and, you know, we gotta help people not be fat kind of thing. I don't know. He just continued what Giuliani did, you know.
Yeah, for the most part, I think I actually think he was actually even better. Like a little more methodical, a little more like serious about certain things. The one of the things that like he instituted, so like the soda ban didn't take hold, but the indoor smoking ban did. And when I first moved here, I was smoking all the time. Every bar like I would go to smoke, just all the time. And once that once I was killed, like it did help people quit smoking, and it is nicer to like go to bars and not like smell like smoke. But I don't know. Like I go back and forth on it all the time because I don't really like government making those decisions.
Well, I look at it like my feeling is people should be allowed to do what they want, especially in their own home.
Sure.
If you want to do that in your own home, that's fine. To the degree, I kind of agree with you. And like I said, coming from tobacco state where, the majority of the money comes from tobacco in this state, I kind of agree. I'd rather I want to go to a restaurant. I don't want to even when they have the smoking and non-smoking sections and stuff like that, that smoke wafts into all over the restaurant. It's just the way it is. And I like I said, I kind of agree. No, just it's whatever. Don't smoke in places.
Ohio did that when I was still a heavy smoker.
Well,
and I bitched and moaned when they first did it. You have to stay outside.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay so many feet away from any windows and entrances too.
Up here, and 5 meters.
Yeah, and I was grumpy about it for a while because it gets cold.
Sure.
Yellow Lantern in chat says when they did that in DC, the clubs also banned smoking, and instead of smelling cigarette smoke, you could smell the people who didn't shower.
Whoops. Well, that was one thing. Like at first, I was really grumbly about it, but at the time, I was also younger, so I went to bars and clubs more, and I started to really appreciate it because I was like, I used to have to go out and get fresh air because my eyes would water so bad because everybody would be smoking in here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I kind of like, if I really, really want a cigarette, I will go outside and then chat with the smokers. And I'm like, I like doing it outside as opposed to it being trapped in a building. So I started to appreciate it.
Yeah, it is better probably.
Better for the workers too.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
And a lot of places do make designated, little smoking areas, so you're at least protected from the elements, stuff like that. Anyway.
Yeah. I'd rather smell cigarette smoke than bad BO. Yeah, when you cannot get bad BO out of your nostrils.
That is true. That lingers.
Mm-hmm. I always think about Mike. You remember the video Turbo did about the anime club at his college?
Oh, no, I don't remember it at all.
He went, that's why I love Turbo. He did this entire video. It was a good 10-minute video talking about weebs, and anime and, how, not that anything wrong with anime in itself or anything like that. Because, he dunks on anime people, but the guy could quote anything from Naruto. So, take it for what it was willed, But... he started talking about this anime club that was in his college, and he said they met every day. They were always in this same area and blah 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 and this and that. And he said, and one day I had to walk by there because I had to I was going to get something out of the vending machine. He says, and as I walked by there, I realized it smelled like shit. And then he ends the video. He doesn't say anything else. And when I say bad BO is really hard, I'm the son of a plumber. And I've helped. Oh, really? Cool.
Oh, cool.
And I've helped
plumber and pipe fitter for the Alaska Railroad.
Oh, nice. We're residential repair. Mostly. But and I have helped my dad have to scoop and clean out septic tanks. That's something you don't want to have to deal with every day, personally.
Yeah.
But the BO, in my opinion, is worse. Because at least with shit, you know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
I guess so. It's hard. Honestly, it all makes me gag.
Yeah, well, it was funny because when the first time went to help my pops, I was the same way you were. I was like, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gone. I'm going. And I asked him like, how do you stand that? He said, it smells like money to me.
That's right.
I'm like, well, like I said, somebody's got to do it.
All those jobs, man. Like electrician, like good money.
Yeah, electricians make good money. Pipe fitters, plumbers, even framers. Like people who frame up like buildings and houses and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some. I mean, and it's funny because a friend of mine, he's a insurance salesman, right? And he got told by a guy the other day that he thought that how did he put it? The idea of service workers is stupid. He's like, hold on a minute, whoa. He says, let me ask you a question. If your house burned down, who do you call? He's well, I call my insurance agent, afterwards. He's like, yeah. He says, if a pipe busts, who do you call? A plumber. That's the service industry. Something goes wrong with your wire in your house, who do you call? Call an electrician. That's the service industry. I find it funny who people who never, who've always been like, especially people who came from money and never had to really work. They're all like, yeah, I don't, I think that's beneath me. I was like, how so? They're the people who make things run.
Well, when people think of the service industry, usually they think of just like retail, I suppose, or like fast food, I suppose.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. I think they're thinking like flipping burgers and stuff like that, which is kind of silly.
I mean, it's all service. That's how we connect with people is like develop skills and then help people with problems.
Yeah, exactly. Like writing comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a service industry. Well, it's a product industry, really. Just
well, it's it's like with this comic book, it's our first comic book, and it's like for me, it's like a dream come true, like getting these characters like into a book, and I hope people enjoy it. I know they're not going to enjoy it like the same way I enjoy it creating it, but I hope they enjoy it.
Yeah.
In like it's good entertainment. They connect with the characters. They want to see more adventures, and it tickles that like sense of adventure and heroism and optimism and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what the chat's saying. So apparently Piper's been dealing with the chat instead of.
Well, you guys went on plumbing, and I'm like, okay.
We were literally talking about plumbing for like 2 minutes. Get out of here.
Oh, well, that's when my brain checked out. He started talking about poop and septic tanks, and I was like, okay, I'm out.
What did your dad do? Can you say or no?
Yeah. He was a naval oceanographer, and now he works for NASA.
Did you say NASA?
Yeah. My dad is pretty damn cool.
And just like that, Piper destroys us all. From orbit.
What?
Literally.
Right?
I got a friend whose brother is working on like he's working on like space planes for NASA.
Oh, that's fucking cool.
That's cool. I like NASA. I like NASA a lot. In fact, like so like my idea for Cyborg had 12 issues, but one of the issues they will definitely be in.
They're going to space.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
In the like the later end of the run.
Yeah.
If we.
What was I going to say? Yeah. Speaking of space, did you hear they confirmed the other day that Voyager 2 has left the solar system?
I thought they confirmed that a long time ago.
Voyager 1 was confirmed a long time ago, but
okay.
Voyager 2, I think they said it was like November of last year that it left, but they just now confirmed it because what's really cool about that is they were able to get some good readings from it because Voyager 1's I forgot what they called it. It was something that it can detect like the plasma in space, which essentially is like saying the solar winds, And Voyager 1's detector was broken, but Voyager 2 wasn't. So they got a lot of cool readings from it. I just read it yesterday. It was kind of fortuitous. We talking about NASA. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you brought it up, I clicked on it to see. So, it's outside the heliosphere as of November last year, right?
Yeah. Because heliosphere, if I remember, like trying to basic saying, that's like where was it a magnetic, the solar winds and the magnetic.
It's basically it's like a plasma bubble that the sun formed. Essentially, I guess.
Yeah, and it is, like I said last year, it escaped that, and
right.
I'm always afraid we're going to end up with like a Star Trek motion picture situation where,
right,
the
sure,
Voyager, one of the Voyagers, clashes with a solar cloud or something like that, and then it becomes V'ger, and everybody thinks it's God coming to reap us.
Exactly. I used to there was this hospital where I grew up that you could, like, if you were sick, like, but not super sick, but you had to miss school, like, you could stay there during the day, and they had like a Laserdisc player. And so whenever I was sick, I would always like try to get my mom to take me there. So I could go there and I'd watch Star Trek the Motion Picture on Laserdisc. It's like very, very, very cool. But I'd only make it through the first, like, that movie is like 2.5 hours long.
Yeah.
For the first like 45 minutes.
There's a reason why people prefer the second one.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if you guys see, like, your boy Zach, like, does on his Splatter Delgado channel. He did like Star Trek reviews. I thought his Star Trek reviews were really good. I watched his movies like over and over and over again. And when he talks about like the motion picture, I mean, the motion picture, like, the fact that they made that movie the way that they made it is like, so it's just like so crazy. You know? Like, they're never gonna make a movie like that again.
What I found funny about motion picture, that in my opinion, it was a big departure from what they were doing from even the series,
Right.
And then when we come to Wrath of Khan, they kind of go back to what they were doing in the series, just on a bigger scale.
So I know like a little bit about it because I when I was a kid I read up a lot on movies, and so Star Trek the Motion Picture was like basically a repurpose from the pilot of, like, what was like Star Trek the Next Generation or the Next Voyages or whatever, and they like part of the weirdness of the plot is like based on like with the series they weren't going to get Leonard Nimoy back, but then like he was in negotiations to do the movie, and then it was kind of like not a big success for the amount of money that they spent on it, and the producers of Star Trek 2 like definitely went at it. They shot Reliant and the Enterprise like both on the same set, and it's like super bare bones, super like low budget comparatively, and just like totally based like what he just like combed the old episodes and was like, here's a great villain, be interesting to see what happened to him.
Yeah. Yeah, by that time, like, Ricardo Montalban was a much bigger actor too, so
sure.
Yeah, it worked. It actually worked out better in the long run doing that.
Mr. Rourke.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love all those movies, but like, I mean, Wrath of Khan is like clearly like the best, but like the artistry in the motion picture is like, I mean, it's such a beautiful movie.
So on the subject of Star Trek, since you brought it up,
sure,
this will be the next question to prove how good of an American you are. What is the best Star Trek series, and why is it Deep Space Nine? You get out of here. You ain't even watched it. Shut up.
I watched enough to get bored, damn it.
You watched the first 2 seasons, which are basically TNG episodes repurposed. Get out of here.
Yeah, well, only not interesting.
Go ahead. Shut up. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I mean, so like I don't agree with that, but it's basically because it's like serialized, because it's like a big soap opera instead of like a bunch of standalone episodes. I mean, I do love it. I like it a lot. I like all those characters. I watched all those. shows. But I still think the original series and even like the Next Generation are better. I don't subscribe to like Deep Space Nine being the best. So.
Rob, give me just a moment here. There we go. Okay.
Oh no!
Had a banner to her containment zone.
Oh, too bad.
Have you learned your lesson?
Welcome back.
Woo!
You're not supposed to agree with the guests when they're wrong, Piper. You got to.
Whoa, that was the right answer.
It was not the right answer. You
That was.
no. Yes,
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Fucking Spy Kids 3, best Ricardo Montalban.
Oh my god.
That's not bad.
He came in, dropped
not-
that, and leave. That's great. Okay.
He's not necessarily wrong. That's pretty good.
Well, he did kind of, if I remember correctly, he really hammed it on that one. So I appreciate like an actor of that like that to ham it up. You know.
Well, he was also he was already in a wheelchair for like Spy Kids 3 too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Greater. I think isn't that the one where he like they have him like in computer effects like rocketing out of the wheelchair, right? That's
I believe so.
CGI.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't walk by then.
Yeah.
Good old Ricardo. I love Ricardo Montalban. I got in trouble like when I first moved to New York. I was trying to be an actor, and I remember I had this like commercial like prep audition class, and and like they had you do like 2 readings of commercials, and the second one I decided to do is like Ricardo Montalban, and it was like terrible. It was so terrible, and they were like, who is this idiot? What the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
And like so, this is one of my many like embarrassing failures.
Okay, at least you put it ahead of Voyager and Enterprise, Piper. I'll give you that.
Well, those 2, I couldn't even get through the first season of those 2. So
Enterprise picks up in like the second and third. But
well, there was multiple reasons why for both Voyager and Enterprise that I couldn't get through. But at that point, I had just been so burnt out that I was like, once I got access to them again, I was like, no, I think I'm just For me, I'm going to say it ended with Deep Space Nine, and then there's movies.
I remember when Voyager came out, I was really excited about Voyager because I was like, well, this is a new opportunity to reset all the things that, like, Star Trek has so much baggage with, like, all the characters and drama. Like, they're going to go to a new quadrant and they're going to have new adventures and it's going to be great. But then I felt like the way that they structured the story, like, right out of the gate, there was too much, like, internal drama that, like, they just never really got, like, stories, like, up and running. And I totally lost interest. And then when Enterprise came out, I was like really excited for it, but it was just like too much. It was like too different, I thought.
Yeah.
It was like really hard for me to get into.
Too much cowboy, not enough Star Trek.
A little bit.
Yeah,
even the
that's
opening
what I
credits,
saw
like that, I like that song and I like the opening credits, but it just always felt like, oh, this is Star Trek. This is like some like it's cheesy UPN drama.
I mean, I get it that it's supposed to show like the, as they call it, the frontier years, of, venturing out into space for the first time. And, there is no Starfleet and, there is no protocol kind of thing, so I get that. And I thought that, that was fun, but I think it was like almost like too much of it, but
I really like the cast and like the costumes and a lot of it was like really good. I haven't watched Star Trek Discovery at all. Have you guys watched that?
I have not. I have not heard good things about it.
All I know is that one lady's got a real nice back.
What I've heard is that whatever the comedy knockoff was, I can't remember what it's called, was more of a Star Trek show than Discovery was.
Oh, the Orville.
The Orville.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the Orville for a while. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so comfy.
It is.
Let's see.
Right up until the Mocklin porn, and then it's just like. I struggled so much not to leave the room. I'm like, God damn it.
Yellow Lantern in the chat says the Kazon were originally going to be the Klingons. This is in Voyager, but they had to change it because they couldn't come up with a valid reason to put them in the Delta Quadrant.
Well, they should have. They should have tried to come up with a valid reason.
Yeah, make it look it was a colony or something that ventured in, and they basically formed their own Klingon empire, and it was much more not the nice one that we have, right?
Yeah. Hey man, it's like a wormhole, or like some god like banished us here.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, it's Star Trek. Like
you
guys can go to
yeah. And like the reason you got there in the first place is because some array that some dude made, right? So
yeah, exactly.
You know, it wouldn't be hard. What I liked about the Kazon, and I shouldn't say light because they're kind of a dumb thing, you know, is that they in the show that the Borg will not assimilate the Kazon because they literally have nothing to offer the Borg.
Right. Well, that's a good metaphor for the character, because it does feel like oh, this should just be Klingons. Well,
yeah.
Like, what's the difference?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of like, but that's because that's one thing Piper never got to was in Deep Space Nine, when your first, especially in the first couple of seasons, when you see your first people from the other side, from the Gamma Quadrant, you're like, this is kind of dumb,
Yeah.
Then they started introducing the changelings, and then the Jem'Hadar, which is basically their warrior race, right? And stuff like that. So it was like really cool. They started introducing like stuff like that. Of course, it had to be later on because they had to burn through those TNG reissues.
I did like the changelings. I remembered him.
Because Odo was a changeling. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. I liked him. He was like the only character I liked.
He's great.
So in Star Trek, we're gonna ask this question to the people who like the series is, what is your favorite episode? Any series?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Yeah.
There's like so many that are like at the top of the list. It's
Okay, top three. How about that? Would that helpful? Top three.
It is a little bit. It's probably yesterday's Enterprise,
mm-hmm.
and maybe the Corbomite maneuver,
mm-hmm.
and geez, I want to say like Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe those three. Like there's some others that I might pick, but those three like all like kind of are like special to me for like different reasons.
Right.
I like Darmok at Jalad.
Darmok and Jalad is great. Lower Decks is another favorite one.
Yeah. Wasn't Lower Decks like the idea was going to actually be a spinoff at some point?
Well, that's what they're talking about doing now, I think.
Oh, okay.
I heard that they were talking about doing that series. I mean, that's what I thought when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh, that's.
Mm-hmm.
I know what they should do.
I know a backdoor pilot when I see it, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Piper?
I can't remember episode names for the most part.
Well, just describe it. We can pretty much remember. We know what you're talking about.
The one where we find out Data is fully functional. That one.
Well, that's early on.
Yeah, but
the Naked Now.
Yeah, because that one is just too freaking funny.
I was definitely hot for Tasha Yar.
Well, she was a nice looking young lady. That's for sure.
She had a Playboy spread when I was a kid, and that was like good sport, like to try to come across that Playboy.
Mm-hmm. You don't say. Hold on a second. What's the name of the actress?
Denise Crosby.
Okay.
She was also in a Red Shoe Diaries where she.
Oh yeah.
Was featured.
That was like a. How did I used to put that? Red Shoe Diaries was like a lot of kids like first spank bank.
Probably true.
Yeah.
I was pretty well experienced by the time Red Shoe Diaries. I'm sorry to say.
Okay. Yeah, not bad at all. Looking on my phone. Yeah. Oh, we got an invasion.
Sorry about all that.
Yeah, I'm coming in to talk about top 3 favorite Star Trek episodes.
Well, Rob, this is Yellow Lantern from the chat, but he goes by
Hey,
Mark
Yellow.
12 too. Yeah.
Yeah. City on the Edge of Forever, Inner Light, It's Only a Paper Moon.
Sure.
Those are
All great ones.
Mhm.
Inner Light, of course, is like probably most people's favorite, or a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um.
It's one of the few episodes of Next Gen I can actually stand. I have a rabid hatred for Next Gen, and like it causes problems because everyone's like, "Oh, it's so great," and it's like the first 2 seasons were rip-offs of original Trek and were boring, and it just killed me. I couldn't deal with it.
I mean, it picks up in season 3.
Again, any Next Gen series, Next Gen DS9, Voyager, you ignore the first 2 seasons because they're going to be boring as F.
That does seem to be the formula.
Do you guys have a favorite one to rip on? Because like there's a couple that come to mind. There's like one that's like
Trouble with Tribbles. I hate that episode.
my favorite like to rip on is Spock's brain. Like McCoy's like, he's worse than dead. His brain is gone.
Well, that was near the end of the series, so I mean, you know.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance. Well, yeah, let me tell my favorites. Gosh, I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the episode. It's the one where there were, like they thought there was a conspiracy going on the Enterprise. This is the Next Generation.
Yep.
Where they had
You're talking about the one at the end of season 1, right?
Was it the end of season 1? The one with but they had to bring in the admiral and she was all like, "I'm gonna expose this conspiracy," and started accusing everybody of being a part of it. And
that was
that's
season 4, I think. Yeah, that was the one where they do the big, the big court scene with.
With Picard saying, the first link in the chain broken.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Yeah, no, the first link in the chain is forged. That's right. Yeah, to stifle speech. Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking about the conspiracy with the parasites in season 1.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. That was pretty good.
See, that also annoyed me because we'll be back, and it's like, okay.
You're right.
Never seen him again. Yeah.
Never again.
Hey, you know what? What's really cool? These board guys. We're gonna go with those guys instead.
One of the things I read was that that people didn't test well with the parasites, which is why they went with the Borg.
You know what else is really cool? The pilot to Discovery, because it looks so much like a movie. Fuck you, Seth.
I'm sorry. STD. It's a fitting name for the series.
Oh yeah, it's not amazingly written. Like
what the?
Okay. I was gonna say it's not amazingly written. It's a fun shit show to watch, and that's what makes it more enjoyable than most Star Trek things, because they're fucking boring. Star Wars is better.
Oh my god. How could you say something so brave but so wrong?
Fucking Star Wars has 8 watchable movies.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
Fucking 3, maybe 5.
No,
yeah.
No, because
yeah.
Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, which is basically
a series. That's not a movie.
But you have to watch it all, so it's basically a fucking movie.
Okay.
And fucking try watching it as a series now. You can't get it on TV. Fuck you.
That's what YouTube is for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get out of here.
Oh yeah, because we all totally legally watch all of our movies on YouTube.
I mean,
I have over 200 that I own legally on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's because Vudu connects to YouTube, so everything I have there is there.
No, but like you have like Rogue One is pretty good. I'm
sorry. I'm gonna have to say a big F you to that because Kyle Katarn was the reason the Rebels got the Death Star plans, not some fucking squad of suicidal nobodies.
Well, okay, it wasn't even Kyle Katarn in the beginning. It was Bont and Spot. If we're getting really fucking nitpicky.
No, that was that was Return of the Jedi. The first one was Kyle Katarn. That's what the video game Dark Forces 1 was about. Was you getting the Death Star plans to the rebels.
That was a part of it.
Are we really doing?
If we're gonna get fucking into this,
are we really doing
I mean, yeah, sure, fuck it, fuck Star Trek.
I didn't even say my number one Star Trek favorite.
You like Trouble with Tribbles?
No. Pale Moonlight.
No, that's what the Joker says to Batman and Tim Burton.
No. It's the finest episode of Deep Space Nine ever written. Get out of here.
Which one is that?
That's the one where the conspiracy to get the Romulans involved in the war.
It's a fake.
Yeah.
I debated between that one and it, Only a Pale Moon, because that one, or Only a Paper Moon, because they're both very good episodes. I like Paper Moon though because of the actors who are portraying PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. The one episode where fuck, what's his name? The space Jew manages to outlogic that Vulcan by proving to her that with the rules of acquisition.
Oh, that was early on. That's in the first 2 seasons, but yeah.
Did you say the space Jew?
I think he meant Ferengi, right?
Yeah.
That was Quark is trying to seduce this Vulcan Maquis member, and he's using the rules of acquisition to seduce her.
Yeah, because
no, it wasn't that he was trying to seduce her. He was trying to keep her from causing more problems, because the Romulans got weapons, and then a colony got weapons, and she was trying to fight them to get. She's trying to cause a big fight because all this weapon smuggling, and he convinces her that she's wrong because everyone has weapons. There's no need to go any further here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna dip back out. I've been making tamales this entire time.
Good talking to you.
Yeah, it's fun.
Seth said in the chat, red shirts versus stormtroopers. Stormtroopers shoot at red shirts and miss. Red shirts die anyway. I'd say that's pretty accurate. In all honesty. How did the
cool crossover?
How did the can you think about the breakdown between the clone? I mean, I understand that clone troopers were clones and stormtroopers are citizens. Actually just regular people. But can you imagine just a downgrade? I don't think there was. The clone troopers were pretty accurate. I mean, look how many Jedi they fucking killed in the
right.
In episode 3. They were pretty on the ball there. And then they upgrade to stormtroopers and they can't hit the broadside of a barn. In fact, the barn could shoot back.
Well, I think in part of it in the first movie is that they were trying not to kill them because of Darth Vader's convoluted plan to have them lead the Death Star to the Rebel planet, right?
To find a Rebel base. Yeah,
it's a great point.
That doesn't explain the rest of the other films, though.
Yeah, like an Empire, there should have been people just dying left and right?
well, it's sort of the same thing though in Empire, because Darth Vader's not that concerned when Han Solo shoots him, and then he's using Han Solo to test the carbonite, and it seems like he's planning on holding on to Princess Leia for a while.
Yeah,
and he doesn't want to kill Luke Skywalker. He wants him to be led back to confront him. So same convoluted problem.
I gotta say that is when I believe that was when you finally kind of got a real feel for Darth Vader.
Yeah, he takes a blast. He just stops a blaster with his hand. It's just
but
okay.
When I have
just the implied stuff.
Nightmares.
Well, I'll just say just the implied stuff. You remember when he went? When I think it was when Lando asked, talked about what about our deal, and he goes, "I have altered our deal. Pray I don't alter it any further."
Yep.
I was like, that's just a moment where you're like, I'm not messing with this dude, But go, you were talking about your nightmares, yeah.
No, I was like I was born in 1978, so like when I was a little kid, like everything was Empire Strikes Back. Like all my sheets, all my like my curtains, like all my toys, my books, like every single thing.
Yeah.
And my night, I would have nightmares. They're kind of the same as like my Jason nightmares, but basically it's like Darth Vader is like stalking me, and that's kind of like the vibe is like when like Han Solo shoots him, just that like unstoppable confidence. That's why people love Rogue One, is basically just that one scene that he's in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny
Right?
that's the only good thing about that.
Yeah.
This is watching him
That was
slaughter the rebels.
best part.
But like you knew how everyone in that movie was going to end up because they're never seen or mentioned in the original trilogy. So it kind of.
I like how now though that like since Rebels came out, like they keep putting the Ghost in stuff now. Like the Ghost was in the first, like not it was their first battle right before they did the first battle of Yavin. And I think the Ghost is actually in that last trailer. I think the Ghost is like near the Falcon. So
for Last Skywalker.
Yeah, for Last Skywalker. If you look at that, when they showed like a wide shot with like the Falcon with all these other ships around it, apparently you could see the Ghost for like a few seconds. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they want to put Brie Larson as Ahsoka.
I'm going to. I'll just end my life before that happens in Minecraft.
Isn't that just bait to like get people like complaining about the movie so that they can try to build up interest, because otherwise nobody cares.
I'm hoping so.
That's what I feel like it was. It's very shallow.
I mean, when you hear people at Disney, Marvel, even they don't have faith in her being able to carry the franchise forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I just from some things I've heard, reading here and there, that when the Spider-Man deal fell through for a while, they were panicking.
Nice.
Because
Marvel was?
Yeah, they were panicking because they kind of they wanted to use, well, you've heard it, they said they wanted Peter Parker to be like Captain Marvel's buddy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like,
right.
I was like, why is Spider-Man always relegated to sidekick now? What's going on here? Like,
that's going to make things really uncomfortable if they ever decide to do Civil War 2 and Captain Marvel's gun for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
admittedly it's Miles Morales, but
yeah. I'm gonna arrest this black kid for thought crime. That's gonna go over really well.
Well, I feel like what they've done with Spider-Man is kind of weird, because they've kind of set him up so that he's like running around in a spacesuit all, which is like Iron Man, Spider-Man. So it's like, I don't know. It's like I feel like their approach on it, they're kind of setting themselves up for failure a little bit.
I think they should have just. I think that, like I said, I don't think they should have set up like the mentor thing with Tony Stark and Spider-Man. I think I don't mind him like him, or in Civil War, like recruiting him like that. That's fine. But being the whole mentor thing, like there was no need for that. You don't have to do the origin. You don't have to show Uncle Ben, but you can touch on it. You literally like 30 seconds of film time. You can touch on Uncle Ben.
Like how they did with Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. You don't need to go through the whole thing. Just show it. Just show like have his aunt look at a picture, and it's he could say something like "still miss him every day," and then he kind of talks about like and I still think it's my fault, and have a quick flashback of what happened. Yep. Because right now, what is his motivation? What is Peter Parker there for? What does he do? And like somebody pointed out on Twitter the other day, which I thought was really good. In Avengers, in Infinity War, he was all like, I want to help. I got to help save the world because if the world's gone, then you can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man with no neighborhood, right? Then then in Far From Home, it's all like, I just want to be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. F the world. Like, all right, get out of here. What is this? Where do you people even communicate in your writing rooms? What's going on here?
I mean, the sad truth about those Marvel movies, like Martin Scorsese says that they're not cinema or whatever, is a lot of times they're a collection of like set pieces and like location. It's like, oh, we want to shoot in this location. We want to, the crew wants to have like a trip to Europe. So
Yeah.
that becomes like the story. And it's like, well, it's not really a Spider-Man story, but you can make it a Spider-Man story because we have, we booked these fancy locations.
Yeah. What's funny about that? Because and I think we can all agree we've seen them, like they're the Marvel stands out there, the Marvel movie stands, I should say, the ones who were, everything that Marvel does is perfect. You don't talk about it. How much they dogged on Scorsese for that, right?
Yeah, Jesus.
And the thing is, they try to bring up money, right?
Right.
And you know what I say to that? I said, if money is the only factor to considering something a great film, the Transformers franchise is the greatest fucking movie franchise of all time.
God.
Because say what you will, altogether,
Great cinema right there.
what I'm just saying, altogether, if we're basing it only on monetary value, those movies had made over $6 billion.
Well, it's not like money is not a terrible metric by which to determine a movie's success, but you're not taking families to see Gangs of New York,
Yeah, I get that, and I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not coming down one way or the other. I just think that using money as the metric that the Marvel stands were using is kind of silly because that can be turned on its head,
No, then there's also the whole, Disney buying out theaters, quote unquote rumor.
Well, that's really interesting. I wonder about that. Like, it does seem like that's happening, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I knew if that was. I wish I knew that was true or not, because it's like it seems like it's true.
Because granted, it's all anecdotal because we don't have a control, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The control, I guess, you would have to take a major metropolitan area and have people go to each theater and see how many empty seats are in those theaters, that were supposed to be like sold out.
Theater managers must know. They must know if like a block of, like the same block of seats, and nobody shows up for this ticket.
I think Ethan, back when when Captain Marvel was going on, when that was happening, they did a lot of people were saying this theater's sold out, but then the person goes to the theater and there are at least like 15 empty seats.
Right.
At
Well,
the
again,
least.
like that, yeah. That's like anecdotal, and again, like I want to believe that. I don't feel confident enough that I can just.
Like I said, I don't want to say absolutely. Is it something I think Disney would do? Yes, because Disney is great at manipulating things. So
that's why if they are doing it, it's something that everybody should be talking about. It's like in my opinion, it's like a really big deal, and very like the business practice of that is very alarming.
When you're just spiking your numbers to make it look better for you and your investors and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the box office, those box office reports, like they can, in some ways they can report whatever they want anyway.
Right.
But if they're committing like a massive fraud, that like people should know about that. So it's very interesting to me, that whole subject.
Well, in my opinion, it's also pretty bad when you think about the 1 billion mile marker, where it's like, oh, this film made 1 billion, and then you find out, and if it's true, and they're padding their numbers, it's like, well, then did they really make that?
Right.
Because here we have the Joker, which is either has or about to cross the 1 billion, and
by the way, not a drop of Chinese money.
Yeah, that's without China's money.
Yep. That just kind of makes me feel good that a movie that didn't get a drop of Chinese money and is not going to be in China is going to crack $1 billion.
Yeah.
the studios definitely bend over backwards to change their content for Chinese censors, and like for a long time, I felt like that like should not be happening, but that's what's happening. So it's nice. It's nice when I think that's what's so great about the Joker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to go see that before it goes out of theaters.
It's really good. I expected, I kind of like knew what it was all going to be, but
Mm.
it's still worked really well.
Mm-hmm. I think I even saw somebody like there, so because like with all the casting stuff that's been going on with the Batman, and I think somebody on Twitter said at one point, just throw it all out, make Batman a period piece, and just put the Joker at the end of it. Just kind of like here's something that's coming. But we'll see how the Batman turns out. I have no hope.
So my understanding is it's going to like a Sherlock Holmes kind of like whodunit, like Batman versus the Riddler, and they're gonna,
Mm-hmm.
the other like villains are gonna be like, it's gonna be like the old Batman TV series, the
Mm-hmm.
animated series, where it's like they already exist in this universe and they're gonna be kind of in and out of the story. So that sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah, but can they pull
That's
it?
what I heard. Was they're going to focus on the greatest detective part more than the beating people up part.
I think that's great. I think like Batman, like Sherlock Holmes with like, Commissioner Gordon as like Watson is like
Mm-hmm.
a great like approach to like a Batman
Yeah.
story.
But can they pull it off? That's going to be the question.
Yeah.
That's going to be.
This is a WB movie, so I'm gonna say no. Look, I'm a huge DC fan, but their comic book movies they're
Yeah.
good for what they are, but they're not good when you call them a comic book movie,
Mm-hmm.
and that's sad.
Well, I'll put it this way. You know what? I was in Walmart the other day because, I felt like punishing myself for some reason, and I was going down the movie section, and they have they already have a Blu-ray combo pack with all the DC movies in one pack.
There's only 5.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And it was like, I think it was like $40, and I'm like, that doesn't really bode well for this universe.
Well, they've pretty much already canceled it. I mean, they're rebooting Suicide Squad already.
Yeah. They're rebooting
You know.
Suicide Squad when, Birds of Prey is supposed to be kind of rebooting that, and so they're doing another reboot of that.
Well, you're definitely getting the Wonder Woman sequel. I don't know, like probably getting an Aquaman sequel, but who knows if we'll ever get a Flash movie? Probably not.
Honestly, if they do, I hope they recast, because I cannot stand the guy they got to play Flash.
Yeah, he sucks.
He's
I'll be honest. I like the guy they have on the TV series better.
Sure.
I think they should have just used him. Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they couldn't do that because of scheduling. I think that they needed to be able to slot into wherever they were going to slot it. And Grant Gustin had like his that TV commitment is like, so like when they do those crossovers, like it's even hard for them to do that.
yeah.
I am anxious for this season's crossover though.
Is that the Infinite?
Because I did like Brandon Roush's Superman. I'm glad to see him back in the suit, and I'm glad to see him being Kingdom Come Superman. With that, his Superman Returns world ends up being Kingdom Come. I'm happy about that. The guy who did the voice for Batman for the animated series,
Yeah, Kevin Conroy.
rumors he's gonna play Batman live action in the Infinite Crisis crossover. So I'm anxious to see that.
Did I hear something? Did they got somebody? Did they get Michael Keaton to do a cameo in there?
They're rumored that he might, because no, it's not. The guy who played the male reporter in the '89 Batman is going to be in it, but they haven't said if he's going to be the reporter from that universe.
Okay.
Robert Wall, Alan
Yeah.
Knox.
Yeah,
They
we
talk
don't know.
about. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we don't know yet. So
Yeah, because I saw the rumor. I just didn't know how
yeah,
accurate
but
that was.
and then I was also a huge fan of Smallville, and they're bringing back Tom Welling and Erica Durance and the guy who played Green Arrow in that one.
Okay,
So
but they're not bringing Chloe back. She's kind of in jail because she was recruiting for cults.
Yeah, that NXKVM or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. That was such a big thing because that happened around the time. I think I remember they were going to they were introducing Chloe into the DC universe, like the proper, comic book universe.
yeah.
And, they were going to make her an actual character, and that happened, and that whole plan was scrapped. Like, whoops.
Like between that and like Vertigo, it's like those guys at DC must feel like they're cursed.
Yeah, God, we were talking about Vertigo the other night. It's like, God, how do you? I never understood why. What they did to Vertigo. This last iteration of Vertigo was just a abomination, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why did you? I could see, you've got Swamp Thing in the main universe now, and that stuff. But it doesn't mean you can't still tell Swamp Thing stories or Constantine stories. In Vertigo, you could tell those stories that you can't really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could do non-continuity stories still. I don't understand why they didn't do that. Why did they? We don't want Border Town. We don't want Goddess Mode.
Yeah, see, I was again back in the '80s and '90s when I was really big into comics.
Yeah.
Vertigo was always here are the characters doing something more adult,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Vertigo was. That was the more adult subject comic book stuff for DC.
Okay,
I think they. Sorry, I think they meant to highlight those stories. They were trying to, for whatever reason, like put a spotlight on them because they were like, maybe for like diversity reasons, or maybe even as like to like diversity in comics criticism.
Yeah.
Like maybe it really was a choice. But like giving them that Vertigo label like guaranteed them like special marketing for that line, and it just blew up in their faces because everybody on that line seemed to be acting completely out of control.
Yeah, exactly. So to I got it on screen now. To bring attention to a totally scientific, absolutely accurate polling that Piper did last night. And the question is, now that Graded Point 5 stream is over, I'll redo the correctly worded Smiller poll with longer time limit. Rob, I don't know if you know about the Smiller poll, right?
I do. I voted on the Smiller poll.
Okay. So
because he just unblocked me earlier this week. I said I demanded that Edwin and Mike unblock me, and then they unblocked me, and all their fans trolled me.
And her question was, if you were ever for CG's ideals, what CG actually is, are you still? 11% said yes, 2% said no, and 87% said Epstein didn't kill himself.
You know what pisses me off? Look at the number of votes.
Yeah, 46 votes. Yeah.
That's exactly how many votes the 1 hour one got.
Wow.
Yeah. The more serious one.
Yeah.
They had 24 hours. Same amount of people, probably the exact same people.
Probably so. And of course it's like, oh, now we have the meme answer, like
Yeah.
But no, so Rob, what did you think about that poll? What was your opinion on Smiller's poll?
Well,
I just realized how badly that sounded. What's your opinion on Smiller's poll?
Yeah, I'm a man. Look, I'm a manly man. I can't answer.
Oh yeah, you're one of the manly men.
No, Mike has like all those guys like have a concerted interest in degrading like what is or what was like the movement that they helped build, and it's all like I mean, I think I understand it like psychologically, but it's all totally bizarre to me. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, and
Mm-hmm.
I think certain like I think all the like quote unquote like ideals of Comicsgate. I think for everybody who's been involved in it, there's like there ends up being like certain hypocrisies because like you say you want to like treat the consumer well, but there's always been like a certain amount of just like shit talking and like online,
Yeah.
like back and forth
Mm-hmm.
over all of these issues. And for me, like I've always like with like your boy Zach, like he was attacked by the pros pretty hard, and I felt like one of the first principles of Comicsgate for me was like to defend his right to criticize, even if it was offensive or even if his expression not
Right.
necessarily something I agreed with. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with like Ethan being a Trump voter.
Yeah.
Defending him, for like being able to vote the way that he voted,
Yeah.
without having like the industry come down. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to like what made up comics.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think where I draw the line is a criticism or a thing. An honest criticism is where's my frog book. You know,
Yeah.
that's because it was late and things like that. So that's to me that's an honest criticism. That's an understandable criticism. You're running a harassment campaign is not in my opinion, honest criticism.
No.
That's your fifis are hurting.
Well, yeah.
You know?
It's worse than that. It is his fifis are hurt, but it's also like I'm not content to just like let you succeed without me.
Yeah.
Like I have to like burn. I have to like burn your house down.
Yeah.
Like nobody respects that. Nobody wants to see that.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are putting themselves on an island.
Yeah. They're putting themselves on an island without a bank.
Sure.
When you get down to it, because I don't know about you, but if I had 2 campaigns under my belt that were well over $100,000, right, already, I don't think I mean, I just don't know if I want to alienate myself that as much to hurt that. I mean, I've seen the numbers for his third or his second printing for Lone Star 1. It's not good.
You get I think you get obsessed with ideas about growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other thing I think is like I don't think like all that. I don't know. Like it's hard for me to say this while we're on a live stream, but I don't think all that live streaming that like Mike does is good for him. I mean, he like sits on the computer and like talks like all day. And,
yeah, because he does like what 3-4 streams a day, like at least 3 because I know because notification stopped, but
and he's like fully exposing himself, and we're all seeing what he's doing and what he's saying, and but I don't think he's processing that he's doing it all publicly, and I don't think and I think that the reward systems that streams set up, like in terms of like comments back or like I think the other thing too that I kind of noticed is like my I kind of like went back and forth with like some of his followers. This said I got him blocked.
Yeah.
And like and then my campaign, like it had been a couple of days since people had backed it, but then a bunch of people backed it, and I'm like, am I getting this like extra support because I'm like jawing with people on Twitter? That's kind of a bad reinforcement mechanism.
Yeah. I mean, controversy does sell. I mean, that's not going to be, totally honest.
Sure.
But it all depends on how you handle that controversy. You feel like if your situation, like for example, and you were jaw jacking a little bit with some folks that were being idiots, right? And then some people saw.
I think so. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Idiots,
and then
fucking idiots.
Yeah, exactly. So if you see, and then some people saw that, that you're arguing with the same idiots they don't like. It's like, oh, hey, here's this guy doing that, and they say, oh, he's got a campaign. Let me check it out. And it's like, oh, I'm going to back that campaign. Right. I'm hoping. I don't know how true it is. I can't speak for anybody. I'm hoping that they're doing it because they saw your campaign after they saw, oh, he's one of us, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Instead of
well, you want like I want it to be in a positive way. I want people to back my book.
Yeah.
I want them to be along on the journey, with a story with me. And what I was saying with Mike in the live streaming is I think I think some of the negative reinforcement from him trolling people and some of the
Mm-hmm.
when he goes after Ethan, you can see in his tweets right now that he's obsessed with, like charting out channel growth and is there decline.
Mm-hmm.
And if you marry your like sense of self-worth to those metrics,
Mm-hmm.
and they start and the bottom starts to drop out from underneath you, you're liable to behave in desperate ways. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what it seems like is happening with him, and it's unfortunate because I think there's so many of us that want to support him and have supported him.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I wanted, and I did for a while, I want to like Mike. I want to, I don't want, Piper does have an issue with him, and she has a valid issue with him,
Yeah.
Let's hear it. What's the problem?
Yeah, oh yeah. A lot of people don't know this story, but go ahead, Piper, tell them.
Which part of the story should I tell?
Okay, quick and dirty part is Piper was having an issue with her kid. He was stealing some of her stuff, and by her stuff, I mean her adult implements.
Okay.
That were
Yeah.
supposed to be hidden and shit like that.
Either supposed to be hidden or thrown away. It was one or the other. They were either
Okay.
hidden or thrown away, and he was stealing them. And I want to add, and she took pictures of the stuff he stole, right? And she said like, she made the things like he's stealing the stuff. He's 13. She never implied that he was using it, right? And
Yeah.
for some of those things, God help him if he was. But and of course, Piper got some backlash on it because this, that, and the other. And Mike, I mean, it was pretty much after it was kind of over. Mike jumps in 2 days later and it says like, "What a horrible mother."
Yeah, we don't even follow each other, and he found it and did that. Like,
Yeah.
That's pretty unacceptable to me. I mean, I honestly, like, I've watched a lot of live streams that Mike was on with his kids, and I I'm not saying that I'm the perfect parent like 24 hours a day, because I certainly am a bad parent a lot, by my own measure.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that he's like doing and saying in front of his kids. That, that I would think twice about if I were him.
I saw one time, and I was like, I wonder if that was like prodded by Mike or what. But apparently, his oldest son had was trying to talk to Malin on Twitter. When that stuff started happening, and he was saying something like, it seems like his oldest has like a little bit of sense in regard to saying, why is what's going on with this kind of thing. But then he said something like, it was kind of like defending. Well, you defend your own family. I'm not saying you don't. That's fine. You defend your own. And he said like, why are you doing this to my my dad? And then, somebody popped in. It wasn't Malin, but somebody popped in and said, my man, nothing against you, but your pops need to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
He said this was started from one side, and John's just reacting to it.
Well, that's another thing. I me's a challenge with like the way that Mike has it set up, because he's got his kids at home with him when he's working, and he's working on camera all.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. Like I see it, and my heart kind of breaks, because I'm sort of like, I don't know. He doesn't seem to be in control of his life trajectory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've seen like, and when I heard like he invested his kids like college fund money in Bitcoin, I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Because my thinking is, after just to be real, a year and a half ago, Mike was going to lose his house. That's
what everybody says. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a proven thing. He admitted that on stream. He was going to lose his house. If Lone Star didn't work, it was over for him as far as owning a house or anything. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I'm not saying kiss the ass or anything like that, but if there was a guy out there and I was about to lose my home who basically put me on his platform, which was much bigger than the one I would have, and damn promotes my book better than I do, and gets me over $100,000 so I can pay off my, pay my mortgage, I'm gonna, I'm never saying a bad word against that guy ever.
So you're absolutely right, of course. And Ethan is like a promoter and just like a personality.
Yeah.
Channel like is that good, and like and I think we all flock to him because he's like taken up that position as like point man for for like Comicsgate and for like rallying people to support projects. But beyond that, like what Ethan himself says is like, I'm nothing without my fans. I'm nothing without you. The chat. Like, thank you so much. Like, like I was just watching his live stream yesterday, and he was like saying that, and of course he's right about that too. And that's the thing. Those guys like don't like. I feel like Doug is like this too. They don't really get that part of Comicsgate that it is about this. Whether you call it a fan movement or not, like it's about this group of people that have come together on the internet because they care about comics in this way.
Yeah. I mean, I'll make this one. We'll make this one final point, and because I know Piper's getting tired.
Yep. Sure. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. Like, you don't have to like certain people, right? If Mike wanted to go on his own, even if he had problems with Ethan, after the fact and everything, had problems with Ethan, war campaign, whatever, to me, for the guy who helped me, got me out of Hawk, got me where I can like live comfortably with my family, where they have a roof over their heads, the lights are on, they get, 3 square meals a day. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to talk to him in private. We're going to have a private discussion. It's like, hey, man, I mean, I appreciate everything you did. I don't like where things are going as far as this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. But I'm walking away, but don't ever think that I don't appreciate everything you did for me. But I'm going to try to do it on my own. No hard feelings. And that's just the way it is. And I've done it quietly. And it would have just been Mike Miller doesn't come on the show anymore.
I think there were a couple of things though, because it seems like just like add a couple more things like before we go.
Yeah, sure.
It sounds like Mike wanted to get Ethan in trouble, or Mike wanted to hold. I think he got to that point where he was helped quite a bit, but then there was a kind of like resentment that, and I'm speculating, kind of armchair psychology, but like resentment that set in about like Ethan's control over the situation, or like Ethan always joked about like telling him what to do, or there was like dick jokes, like all these like little indignities that I feel like he felt like he suffered along the way. But then like on the other side of like offending Ethan or pushing Ethan away from him, it's kind of like that, like the animal that you feed, and then the animal like goes out to find his own food, but he can't find his own food, so he comes back to you. Like that's what like Mike's behavior feels like now, where it's like it seems like he he's declaring he's going away. He's calling Comicsgate burned.
But he's trying to keep that in his orbit, so he's not totally irrelevant.
Yeah, he's still using Ethan to get attention, and instead of like the positive thing that everybody had built together, he's like appealing to these negative people who like don't like Ethan, who have sort of formed their own like clique. That is just like talking negatively about Ethan or Comicsgate or War Campaign or whatever it is, and he's getting his validation through that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask Piper real quick because Piper, let's pretend for a minute that let's say we had separate endeavors going on, right?
Yeah.
And let's say I helped you make $100,000 on your endeavor.
Man, that'd be awesome.
Well, yeah, but I mean. Let's pretend for a minute that I had a group of fans who didn't like you, and they kind of memed on you, and let's just for pretend. I know you've got a better countenance than this, but let's just pretend it offended you and you didn't like it, and you didn't like the fact that I didn't do anything about it. I mean, would you start then like just bad mouthing me online?
That's just not That's not my way.
And it shouldn't be.
You would have to do something to me personally before I'd be like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Right.
But if it's your fans, then I can understand the I can't control other people thing. So I'd probably just be like, fuck those guys.
And if like, okay, let's say, okay, this is going to sound...
Oh, shit, my bad.
That actually works.
Assuming again that they actually managed to do something that pissed me off instead of doing memes that made me laugh. So...
They are. I think the memes are great. Aren't the memes great? I think we can all agree.
I'm
I
sorry.
think if somebody's memeing on me and it's to make fun of me, but it's funny, I'm gonna fucking laugh.
Well, I'll give you an example, Rob. Like, you know, like I said, and after this, I'll try to wrap it up. But Piper has a big werewolf. She's a big werewolf thing, right? If you
furry.
I wouldn't go that far.
Malin militia.
Yeah, wolf milk. There you go.
Yeah.
One time, and I'm not kidding you, we actually had a stream where we had to get a chart out and discuss which version of a werewolf she would, you know. And it was literally like, okay, this one, but not this one, you know, kind of thing. You know, and all that stuff. And so for a while,
we all have our preferences.
Yeah, and so
that chart got pulled out because white girls fuck dogs was being spammed at me left and right. Yeah,
that's what started going. You know, people started saying white girls, and so as a joke, we started saying it too, not as clearly, you know, but well, for one thing, one time it said like, you know, those memes that pop up, and sometimes they say like, pick the 13th, you know, the 13th thing in your photo roll on your phone is the last thing you had sex with, right?
All right.
And Piper does herself no favors here. And she goes, she pulls it up, and she quote tweets that, and she goes, "What the fuck?" And it's like a picture of her dog. So, of course, it's like, we were all like, Piper, no.
Did that come out of like the there's like a technician supposedly who's like saying that like 1 out of 10 pap smears have like dog semen in them? Is that where that came from?
I heard something about that.
No, the origins is that chick in Wisconsin who did a YouTube video a few years back.
Yeah.
And
I think I remember seeing her. Okay.
Yeah.
What
I
is
think
she?
her name was Whitney or something like that.
Did she admit to doing it with her dog or something?
Oh,
yeah.
She not only admitted to it, she was like, no man could ever match it.
Wow.
And it was like, oh.
Yeah.
I used to work as a script reader for a production company, and that was like one time we got Bobcat Goldthwait's script, and that was I don't know if he ever made that movie. I think he probably did, but that was like the story is basically like a guy had a girlfriend and then he found out that she had sex with her.
Jesus.
He had to figure out if he could still like still go through with it. That Bobcat Goldthwait's a genius.
That was like one time I was playing an MMO online and ran into this person, and it was just like, we did a dungeon. You know, sometimes a good, you get a friendship from people you just run into, right? And eventually it's like, oh, they're kind of cool people. And we started talking, and they were saying, they said, yeah, I'm a girl, and of course in an MMO, girl, guy in real life. So I was like, yeah, whatever, like, and then they started talking about like, yeah, I like to do this. I got a pet dog, and I like dogs. I'm a big dog fan. I was like, oh, that's cool. What kind of dog you got? And they said, blah, blah, blah. And they said, then we're talking, Piper, get your soundboard ready. I was, talking back and forth, and she said, like, yeah, one day, we were, me and the dog were going for a walk, and, we're out in the woods, and I bent over to do something, and my dog started humping me. I'm like, I was like, I'm sitting there like, as they're, not typing because this is all text, right? I was like, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. My character was literally backing up. I was like, oh, really? Yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah, like, oh, bye.
I ran out of, I think it was an arrested area. I ran out of that arrested area, popped on my flying mount, and flew the fuck away.
Well, so before we got into the dog sex, you were just saying like Piper never would have, she'd never turn on you the way that Mike did.
Right? Yeah. I mean,
essentially, yeah. That was an example of if people are making fun of me, I think it's funny. So,
yeah.
like, it's really hard to fucking actually piss me off.
Like if let's say like if the
way.
dog if the dog memes were actually pissing you off, or like if I was making them and you were pissing you off, like
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So if they had
Yeah.
pissed me off,
Mhm.
then no, because see, I still remember who helped me though. Like,
Yeah. So I would think
unless you were actively like trying to hurt
Like-
my feelings along with everybody, then
Yeah,
I
like,
would be like, all
trying
right,
to-
we're going our separate ways.
yeah, but I think you would handle it privately, right? It'd be like, okay, look,
Like, this really bothers me, and if you're like, well, go fuck yourselves, then I'd be like, all right, thanks for the help.
mhm,
But I'm gonna go this way now.
yeah,
But yeah, I wouldn't keep dragging. If it brought up, I would be like, yeah, he helped me, and he did this and that.
mhm,
But then I got sick of the
memes.
dog memes.
Yeah.
Inappropriate memes. If you say dog memes, people are gonna ask questions.
The highly inappropriate memes. They were so mean.
They put me in pictures and they had me doing the white drugs and
Well, my favorite thing is that they call it they call it gay porno harassment, which is
yes.
like you expect me to take something called gay porno harassment seriously?
Yeah.
like really like
Hey,
That
I
sounds like a
tried
crazy?
to kill that guy.
God, it sounds like a translated Jav title too.
Oh no! I remember there's that guy who hacked ISIS's Twitter account and then just deleted everything and turned it into gay porn.
Oh, that's true. That was beautiful.
Yeah, and ISIS threatened to kill him. So I mean,
Mhm.
that
I mean, just it's like, oh god, they put a dildo on my face as like devil horns. All right.
So this like takes us back because like before the broadcast started, we were watching the war campaign and like they were doing the Edwin things. I mean, the thing about it is he's being hypocritical about that stuff. He jokes. He makes off color and inappropriate jokes.
Yeah.
He would meme people offensively if he had the wherewithal and skills to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think because he's taking every action that he can think of to like, bring war campaign down. So, it's all disingenuous.
Yeah, that's my feeling. I've felt that way for a while now. Because I was like I said, when the original stuff came up, I was like, well, this don't look good. And I was actually talking to Edwin at the time, like in DMs and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
And I finally came down to it, dude. I was like, when it gets down to me, and I'm I'm a Christian, but I don't pretend to be a scholar, right?
Right.
When I'm having to quote scripture to the guy who's supposed to be the paragon of Christianity to show how wrong he is, there's a problem. There's a big problem.
Well, I felt pretty blindsided because I was like, I had been in touch with it.
Yeah.
Because I was going to launch the campaign, and I was, I was thinking like, I'll go on a show and kind of and like, reach out to those guys, and then they did then he started calling for like evidence against war campaign.
Yeah.
And I started ragging on him on Twitter, and then they did the Fall of Rome broadcast, and he like blocked me that night because he was like, anybody who's war campaign like Ethan, blocked, never have on the show, and that was.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was going to be, and I was like, I remember thinking like, I'm not going to turn my back on the war campaign guys. They have helped me, and I like them. I think they're right. I think they're funny, and I want to support them. Even though they can be assholes.
Yeah.
But like we all can probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the most I'd like unfollowed them, and I've started to refollow them now because I see that they were done dirty. So
Yeah.
So
Well, and now their channel like is growing, and I think people are realizing like they put on a fun show. I mean, they create like a fun vibe and a fun energy.
From what
and they help creators.
Yeah, from what Micah Curtis told me, a lot goes on in that show. It ain't just like they get on and start BSing. Like Bro does a lot of planning.
Oh yeah,
for the show.
No,
Yeah.
Well, it's like all the Centurions and Valkyrie. I mean, he like. He's managing like scores of people who are producing content and creating in jokes and like building community, and that's that's what's valuable, not people getting together like trying to plot to take other people down.
I mean, I saw the recording they did because just to mention that Mandy Summers will be on tomorrow night on our show, but
Great.
I saw the episode. I don't know if you saw it, where they showed the recording of the guy who was pretending to be a girl to try to get evidence that Mandy was trying to make artists not make, but trying to like convince artists to work for free for her.
Okay.
In her campaign and stuff. Like, hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that particular.
Are you talking about like very recently? There's a guy who was pretending to be a mute bisexual girl.
I believe that was. I think that was. Yeah.
And he engaged a bunch of artists to do work for him. My understanding is that he paid them all. That there's not, that there's just like hard feelings because they thought that they were working with like somebody else.
Yeah, but I think I want to say the same guy who was trying to say that Mandy Summers was trying to get people to do work for free. And that was, and of course this was like the dreaded what do they call it? Not Inquisition. What do they call that thing?
Yeah, the tribunal.
The dreaded tribunal with like 50 people in the chat. That's
so I was in that tribunal, and I was also in the George Alex tribunal.
Okay, all right.
And there's one other tribunal that they did. I think it was for Mandy actually.
Okay, yeah.
But maybe they just called it. Maybe they didn't call it the tribunal. But they're not. Like the one with George. Like there were some guys in War Campaign who aren't in War Campaign anymore who were like going after him a little harder than the regular guys were. Roe's like a lot of show. I mean, he says a lot of things that are like really jerky, but.
Yeah,
he's really funny, and he's an excellent host. And I think his heart is definitely in the right place.
I think so too. Because I think I laughed the other night when he was talking to I think Adam Friend was in the chat, and he kept calling him Adam Unfriended because he said I'm not following you on social media or anything. I mean, he was like going all out, like saying it's like, no, brother, I'm not going to follow you anymore, and this and that and the other. And he said, but hey, remember you said I was like one of the best comedians on YouTube, and then he winked. I was like, good troll. Good troll.
It's funny. I mean, those guys are whip smart. They're very intelligent, and they've been following the Comicsgate since like day one, and they know everything about everybody. I think it's great.
The four guys that do the show like regular, like they got good timing, good. Absolutely. It's like. Gat's kind of. I like how Gat's kind of the guy. He's not paying attention. He's all like, I'm just here, brother.
Yeah, he's just smoking a blunt. He'll expound on some.
Yeah, and yeah, he's kind of like that one weed guy who doesn't really talk too much, but when he does, it's like profound shit.
Sure.
And then Pan's comedic timing is perfect because he comes in with those wow, so
Pan is. I think Pan is. It's a real shame that those guys went. I think Pan is like very, very.
Yeah. So anyway, I just noticed Piper is getting ready to go, so I'm going to one more time talk about one more time with the campaign. Cyborg USA, the comic book, issues 1 and 2. Entry fee for getting in the first tier is $25. You get issue 1 and issue 2. You still have quite a few left. You got about 320 some left of that. But I think I think the best two values are the colored variant, the coloring book variant and the numbered variant. I think those are your best bang for your bucks, in honesty.
Yeah, those will be the rarest books because we're printing them to order. So however many people buy them, that's how many we'll make.
Yeah.
The main book we're doing 500 each show. So like you said, there's about 300 for sale. We got about 22 days left in the campaign.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a really short on-demand period. So you know, anybody who wants to back it, please jump on it. And cyborgusacomic.com, you can check out the free PDF.
exactly. So everybody go to cyborgusa.comic.com and check that out. And be sure to check this out on the link is in the description below. The bot's been like tweeting it out on, putting it out all night. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. We're gonna go so Piper can go pretend that she's an adult and get some sleep. And and we
Thanks
will.
for having me on, guys.
And thank you so much, Rob, for coming
fun.
on. And like I said, everybody be here tomorrow night. Mandy Summers will be here to talk about her campaign and all the stuff that's been going on since the last time she was on here. So y'all have a good one, guys. We'll see you then, and thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.